evangelical minister and conservative activist David Barton is making headlines again. You may remember him as the man who falsely asserted that the Supreme Court banned Bible reading in school because it could cause brain damage. But if you don't remember that, check out this video because he is after Starbucks.
Starbucks all this money into destroying traditional marriage. The question is, can a Christian give money to a group he knows will use it to attack what God supports? If you know that when you buy a cup of Starbucks, 5, 10, 15 cents is going to be used to defeat marriage, can you do that? Answer is no. Biblically, there's no way a Christian can help support what is attacking God. I'm sorry, you got to find something like coffee to drink. You can't drink Starbucks and be biblically right on this thing. It's just a real simple principle.
Oh, real simple principle. Oh, yeah. You can't, obviously, if you drink Starbucks, you can't be biblically right.
And also, apparently, you're attacking God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's true. That's actually why I get the venti.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah.
God, take this! Right?
Yeah.
So now, they've been doing this goofy boycott, which he's now supporting, dump Starbucks or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And the National Organization for Marriage had started this boycott actually back in the beginning of 2012. And when they did, the day that boycott was announced, Starbucks stock price was at $53 a share. Well, 1 month after the boycott, it was devastating to Starbucks. Their shares were $58. Okay, so they went up $5. And today, Starbucks shares have been absolutely decimated. They're at $63.
Yes, it's very effective, this movement.
So, not altogether very effective now. The Tea Party is joining this boycott, and they got a Facebook page or a petition that got over 13,000 likes in 24 hours. But Starbucks still stands.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's a Starbucks on every corner. You know, the Mormons never drank coffee, but that doesn't seem to make a dent.
Yeah, that didn't hurt. They've been having a protest of Starbucks from day one.
Yep.
And that hasn't seemed to. Look, two things. Number one, I think that the right wing is full of crap. I think that these crazy evangelicals are actually a tiny, tiny minority. There's a lot of evangelicals that are just regular Americans living their lives, drinking their coffee, watching Glee, whatever they're doing, right? And they're watching their football and drinking their beers. They're not worried about the idiots of the world who are like, oh my God, Starbucks is not biblically right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one guy screaming this out to a room full of people. How many people in that room actually went and got Starbucks later that day?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very small percentage of the population.
Right. Now, this idiot's also been doing a protest of a boycott of General Mills. General Mills still stands.
Oh, because they support gay marriage too?
I guess so. They did
some other crazy reason.
For years, they did one of Disney because they didn't hate their gay employees. Now, that was old school. Before the gay marriage thing, it was like, you're going to be decent to gay employees and not, discriminate against them. They're like, how dare you? Disney is biblically wrong. They did a protest. Disney, of course, blossomed. It wasn't affected at all.
Yeah.
Revenues went up, etc. And then meekly, like at some point, they're like, oh yeah, we're done with that boycott.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Are you?
We want to be able to go to Disney World again.
Of course!
I want to take my kids to Disney World.
Now, more importantly, what is biblically right? Now, he's saying, look, Starbucks in favor of gay marriage. Now, to be fair, in Leviticus, it says you shall not lie with a man as you should with a woman. So, a boycott, if you're being a literal interpretation, if you're doing a literal interpretation of the Bible, okay, I get it, right? All right, well, so let's look at that same Leviticus, 1919, for example, to see who else we should boycott. You are to keep my statutes. You shall not breed together two kinds of your cattle. You shall not sow your field with two kinds of seed, nor wear a garment upon you of two kinds of material mixed together. So there goes Gap. There goes every retailer that carries clothing in the country.
And every food manufacturer.
And Monsanto and food manufacturers. You should boycott all of them. Now God never said Leviticus 19:19 is not as important as the Leviticus where I talk about gay people should not sleep together, right? Yep. He never said that. He said every word is inerrant according to the fundamentalists, right?
No, David Barton picked and chose which one was, which one backed his cause. I mean, this guy isn't just an evangelical Christian. He's also a fundamental right-wing conservative activist. That's the important distinction there.
Absolutely. So let's keep reading the Bible and see what happens and who else we should boycott. Likewise, this is Timothy 2:9. I want women to adorn themselves with proper clothing, modestly and discreetly, not with braided hair and gold or pearls or costly garments. There goes the whole costly garments industry. There goes the pearl industry. There goes the gold industry. Boycott, abomination, going to hell. But even if you have braided your daughter's hair, like cute little braided hair, hell.
That's what's funny to me about this, because when I think of like kind of fundamentalists like Puritans or Quakers, they always have their hair braided, don't they?
Yeah,
the
well,
most fundamental, the people who wear the long puffy sleeve clothes and the skirts, and they're trying to like keep to these biblical standards, they always have like the long braided hair.
I know, and Beelzebub laughs and laughs and laughs. Thinks, oh, come to Papa.
Yeah.
Braided your hair, sorry. Inerrant word of God. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep busting you up all night long. I'm going back to Leviticus 19:27. You shall not round off the side growth of your heads, nor harm the edges of your beard. So if you have harmed the edges of your beard, let alone if you have bangs, goner,
Yeah.
abomination, just as guilty as a man lying with a man. It doesn't say in Leviticus 19:27, not as important.
Yeah.
Just as guilty.
So I wonder how David Barton feels about the fact that only the Orthodox Jews are going to heaven,
Well,
according to this statement in Leviticus.
I would love to see the look on his face when he's like, why am I dying? Well, not even dying, even worse, eternal torture in a fiery hell. And he looks up and he's like, oh my God, only the Jews made it.
I could have had more Starbucks.
I'm not done yet. Leviticus 11:10. But whatever is in the seas and in the rivers that does not have fins and scales among all the teeming life of the water and among all the living creatures that are in the water, they are detestable things to you. So there goes, that's my favorite one. There goes shrimp, lobster, crabs, and the list goes on and on. Why on God's green earth do you not have a protest of possibly the most anti-Bible company in the country, Red Lobster? There should be a gigantic boycott. I mean, you want to talk about biblically right. There isn't a company in the country less biblically right than Red Lobster.
And again, this is only the evangelical Christians would ignore this, but look at, the verse about a man or two men lying together, because you've got Hasidic Jews and you've also got the Seventh-day Adventists who would actually follow this rule in Leviticus.
Cara, it's almost as if they're cherry-picking verses for their own purposes, and their purposes apparently is not to love one another, but to hate one another. So they're cherry-picking the verses where they get to concentrate their hatred on a minority.
It's all about establishing the us and the them.
Understand this, because look, if you look at any article of clothing you have, it's very likely that you're going to hell. It's abomination, okay?
Maybe we should all just stop wearing clothes.
Well, now we're having a conversation, okay? Again, it is no different than lying with a man. They've lied to you. If they said it's worse, they lied to you. Read your own Bible. And once you realize that we're all going to hell, you might want to rethink the literal interpretation of the Bible. And if I haven't convinced you yet, I'm going to give you one last one. Genesis 38:9-10. Onan knew that the offspring would not be his, so when he went into his brother's wife, already we're having fun there, he wasted his seed on the ground in order not to give offspring to his brother. But what he did was displeasing in the sight of the Lord, so he took his life also.
Wait, was it displeasing that he didn't come
Yes.
inside her, or was it displeasing that he was screwing his brother's wife?
No, he was told to screw his brother's wife.
Okay.
It was displeasing that he didn't finish the job.
Yeah.
When you're going to screw your brother's wife, do it right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is if you do the withdrawal method, you should be executed.
Or commit suicide. But I think that's also a mortal sin. This
No,
is all
no.
very confusing to
No,
me.
he is capitalized. He took his life also, meaning God killed
took his
him.
life, I see.
So
I see.
if you have ever withdrawn, okay, and my guess is that's also a lot of you, God wants to execute you if you believe in a literal interpretation of the Bible. Now, if you say, I don't believe in a literal interpretation, those are all Old Testament, well, I got news for you. You shall not lie with a man as you lie with a woman is also in the Old Testament, and you have no reason to believe that literally either. And if you do, you're cherry picking and you're doing it based on hate, not what Jesus preached, which was love. That's the reality.